Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice came out this weekend, and regardless of the reviews, it's all begged the question, where are my superhero games? The PS1 and PS2 days were full of them. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, X-Men Legends, the various SpiderMan games, and a lot of more off-the-wall ones like Iron Man and XO Man of War and Heavy Metal. But all these games were before comic book franchises exploded like they did after Iron Man 1. Sure, today we have the Arkham series, but what else? Marvel Heroes is fun, but it's almost completely devoid of personal story. The LEGO superhero games are great, but they serve as a spoof of the source material. We want real, focused superhero games today on GameZone's Top 5 of the Week. This week, Top 5 superheroes that deserve their own video games. Number 5, Iron Man. Okay, so they tried this one with the aptly named Iron Man in 2008, and, well, it was terrible. Like, really bad. Like, who made this? Secret level, artificial mind, and movement. Okay, yeah. First of all, 3 different developers for different systems, and none of them are anyone I've ever heard of. Safe to say this was a cash grab. In fact, it was mostly based on the movie instead of trying to do something more creative. I don't think the industry quite understood what it had at the time, or for some reason thought people would think this pile of garbage would suddenly be fun because it had Tony Stark's face on it. So let's take a minute here and explain something. If by some stroke of luck a video game developer watches this video and thinks, I should make that game, do not base it on a movie. Superheroes have years of content to pull from, and movie-based games always perform badly. Just no, stay away, don't do it. Number 4, The Incredible Hulk. So The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction was an awesome game. Big, destructive, explosions everywhere, and just focused on fun. Think about it. The Hulk doesn't think too much. He just smashes. Story would be great, but it doesn't even have to be too deep. Ultimate Destruction includes destroying a city, using the environment, and just being as destructive as possible. I was even thinking of who could follow that game up. Platinum Games. Platinum has made games such as Transformers Devastation, Bayonetta, and Metal Gear Rising. Platinum is known for their fast, destructive games, and Transformers shows their ability to make these things on a large scale. This one made it on the list due to its simplicity. Who wouldn't want a 3D Rampage game starring the Hulk? If you haven't played Ultimate Destruction, I'd highly advise it. What I'm proposing here is simply make the same game, but in today's environment. Number 3, Green Arrow. Okay, yes, I picked Green Arrow for this list. I know CW's Green Arrow is basically Batman, but it's his arsenal, haha, that makes me think that he would make a great game. Batman has a utility belt. Most of his tools can pretty much be anything that you can conceivably fit on your waist. But Green Arrow's tools tend to be arrow-related. Stun arrows, tracker arrows, exploding arrows, foam arrows, and boxing glove arrows? Whatever kind of arrows we're talking about, it forces a bit of creativity that would fit well in a puzzle-solving game. Plus, over the past few years, bows have been pretty popular, and for good reason. They're pretty awesome. This may lend itself to an entirely different top 5 list, but while bows are sometimes featured in games, they never seem to be the focus. I'd love for a Green Arrow game to focus entirely around the utilization of a bow. I'm thinking Sniper Elite meets Arkham City. Sniper Elite being the extreme focus on the weapon, and Arkham City being the stop crime in the city aspect. Number 2, Superman. Okay, wait, don't X out of this video. I know it probably gave you flashbacks to Superman 64, but we're in good hands these days. It's okay. Even before Superman 64, they handled the boy in blue pretty well. By the way, did you know that Blizzard had a hand in making Death and Return of Superman? That was long before I knew about them. Anyway, Superman, by Rocksteady, the guys who did the Arkham games. When Superman isn't shooting eye lasers, he's throwing punches and grappling, something that Rocksteady's been working on for the past 4 games that they've made. The stakes may need to be a little higher as Superman's, overpowered, but Rocksteady is also good at pulling out cool supervillains from their stockpile. As long as there's no flying through golden rings, I don't even want to talk about it. Just as long as it is nothing like Superman 64, I think it would be a pretty cool game. Number 1, SpiderMan. So this almost seems unfair. The PlayStation 1 and 2 days was full of Spider-Man games. But let's face it, Spider-Man makes for an awesome open world game, and the heyday for Spider-Man games is pretty far behind us now. So much so that the team who could now do him justice wasn't even working on the same kind of games at the time. I propose a Spider-Man game created by Ubisoft, borrowing from the Assassin's Creed engine. It already has sprawling rooftops, fast-paced travel, and parkour built into it. Just tweak it to work with web-slinging and you've got a pretty solid game. The web-slinging is important though, as it can make or break a Spider-Man game. The other important aspect would be tone. In the PS1 days, developers weren't afraid to have fun, which is what made the old Spider-Man game so great. Silly quips and eye-rolling puns are what Spidey's all about. Personally, while I'd play all of the games I've mentioned in this list, this one seems to be the easiest translation, and I'd play it in a heartbeat. Just, don't make one every single year, Ubisoft. I know you like to do that, and I know you've learned, but yeah, just avoid temptation. I have so many other thoughts on this idea, but sadly it's just a top 5 video. Superheroes can make great video games, and I feel like the industry is completely missing out on an opportunity here. I'm sure it has something to do with licensing, which is unfortunate because once the mechanics are in place, the game can practically write themselves. Maybe one day Marvel and DC will take some chances and license out more titles so we can run around cities and bust up bad guys. For more superhero news and reviews, including Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, visit GameZone.com. If you'd like to see more top 5 videos, subscribe to this channel. Lastly, if you want to see more from me, find my channel in the link below. My name is Steve Knauer, and this has been GameZone's Top 5 of the Week.